Thank you, Tony. I might just stop there. You've said probably the best thing I could come up with, so you've stolen some thunder there. Thank you to Reed Corporate for putting on another tremendous event. It's fantastic to be here in Queensland at such a well-run event and present to you a homegrown copper story. I think I can maybe not safely, but I know most of the stories here. I think I can claim to be the best Queensland copper story here at the conference. I don't know there's any others. In terms of Hammer Metals, we've built a dominant position in the Mount Isa region, some 3,000 square kilometres, and amassed a portfolio in excess of 500,000 tonnes of contained copper. And that's copper at an equivalent grade above 1%. A lot of that material is open pittable. So we like to think we're differentiated in terms of some of the copper deposits and projects out there. We've got recent new joint ventures with globally significant partners, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And when you look for projects and you think about your projects, it probably doesn't hurt to reiterate that you need good projects in good regions with good people and access to capital. And we've been pretty active on the capital front and securing our future, ensuring minimal dilution for our shareholders and identifying alternate pathways to value creation. I'll talk a lot more about that. I'd like to acknowledge our chairman, Russell Davis. I talk about the right team. Russell was the architect behind Gold Road Resources and the Gruyere discovery. The premise that Russell had when he set up Gold Road was identifying large prospective tenures of land, securing that land package and then exploring them for large systems. Russell's here at the conference. He's also the architect of the Queensland Mount Isa copper portfolio that we have. The team and our shareholders are very similar to the team, or at least the shareholders that went through the journey of Gold Road. Long-standing shareholders committed to replicating that success in the copper space in Mount Isa. As we sit today, we have a market capitalisation. We're on sale today at $35 million market cap, like many other stories out there. An enterprise value of $30 million. We have $5 million in cash in the bank as at 30 June. We also have around $5 million in value in listed equities, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. You can see there it's been a relatively, compared to others, it's been a relatively flat 12 months of trading. That's on the back of some good progress that we've shown, in particular in the last 4 months. In terms of our last 4 months, we've signed 3 new JV agreements. The first of those was with Carnaby Resources. The Carnaby Resources transaction, we agreed to sell 3 sub-blocks out of our portfolio, so 9 square kilometres out of the 3,000 square kilometres we hold. We agreed to sell 3 of those sub-blocks, a portion of those sub-blocks to Carnaby for up to $20 million. We've received $4 million in cash and $5 million in Carnaby scrip, and we're currently Carnaby's largest shareholder at 5.3%. Carnaby are progressing the Greater Duchess copper project, and we're firmly behind their aspirations there to become one of Australia's next copper producers. We stand to benefit as they progress that opportunity through the development of the Greater Duchess project, and when they make a decision to mine on Mount Hope, we have future payments of $5 million due and a further $6 million in payment should they mine any ore from those 3 sub-blocks. The prospect of the mining ore from those 3 sub-blocks we think is pretty significant. We had intercepts that we reported from the South Hope deposit here last year, 25 metres at 2%, in excess of 2% copper. So we're really pleased with that joint venture. It really has established our ability to not raise money for the next couple of years and continue with our exploration activities. And it's, I think, indicative of the exploration potential and opportunities that sit within a vast portfolio in Australia's most prospective copper region. Our Kelman deposit's just 20 kilometres away from Mount Hope. So again, I spoke here last year about the consolidation opportunities in the area. I think they still remain today. There's over 1 million tonnes of copper equivalent metal now within this district. I think it will become a regional producer in the near term. I can sit here and tell you how good our exploration tenure is, and you could choose to believe that or not believe that, but what I would say, in the last 4 months we've brought on 2 new partners for JVs over part of our tenure. One of those is with South 32, so looking for tier 1 sedimentary hosted lead, zinc, copper deposits, much like the Mount Isa style. They're in a JV over the Isa Valley project and earning an interest there. They'll be making a decision as to whether they're going to drill that prospect in the next couple of months. We're pretty excited about that JV and the potential. That particular tenure is tenure that we picked up only 2 years ago. we're always looking to improve our portfolio of projects, maximising our chance of exploration success and offering our shareholders a path to generating value and serious value, exploring for large-scale targets. Our other joint venture was with Sumitomo Metal Mining Oceania. For anyone that isn't familiar with Sumitomo Metal Mining, they operate 8 copper mines around the globe, producing some 200 to 250,000 tonnes of copper metal yearly. They also foresee the potential for a Tier 1 Ernest Henry-style IOCG system undercover at our Bullrush prospect. So this is another fantastic opportunity that we've identified, we've done the initial work on, have now found a way to fund that project whilst maintaining a significant ownership in that project moving forward. So these are globally significant mining companies choosing to invest and explore properties that we think are highly prospective. That particular tenure, you can see in the various colours there, the light blues, the orange, the pink, the green. We now have 6 joint ventures. As I've mentioned Sumitomo Metal Mining, I've mentioned South 32. We also have a joint venture with Glencore. So I don't think there's too many juniors that can boast exploration joint ventures with 3 globally significant players. And this is a function of having built this tenure position in Mount Isa over a decade. So it's picking the best land, being patient, taking that ground position and moving forward. We've recently applied for some new tenure to the north, ground that Rio Tinto dropped. So again, these are areas where we're proactively picking up grounds, seeking out opportunities and looking to explore them. We've heard at this conference, things are a little tough at the moment, especially around the copper markets and the copper industries. Very few companies are making decisions to explore. Very few companies are making commitments to acquire projects. What I can tell you is when the copper prices change and when they turn, the cupboard is bare for new projects. The work's not being done to replace the copper production that's going to be lost and the copper production that is going to be required to fulfil the need to move to electric vehicles and the associated infrastructure. What that means is it means companies with a solid resource base are going to see good growth in the future. Now, is that future in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years? I don't know. All we can do as a company is prepare ourselves for that time, build our resource base, build our positions around exploration opportunities and continue to do good work. I said within the Hammer portfolio I have over 500,000 tonnes of contained copper equivalent metal. The majority of that is at our prospect called Kelman. It sits about 25 kilometres south of the Barkly Highway, which runs between Mount Isa and Cloncurry, situated surrounded by Tier 1 deposits. The particular project there, we reported a 39% increase in the JORC resource there in May last year. It's now of a size which I think is sufficient to be developed. In fact, it's the same size and same grade, copper equivalent grade, of mod resources when they were taken over by Sandfire back in 2019. And that acquisition took place for an enterprise value of $160 million. We have a similar style of asset sitting within our portfolio already. It's not only those projects, but this ground contains significant copper all the way through it. Intercepts that aren't currently economic, and we've reported these in the past, and prospects that we're not actively exploring. So keep these in mind when you're thinking about tenure that might be attractive to someone in the future. The Black Rock deposit, 78 metres at 0.5% copper, plus 0.1 grams per tonne gold. Overlander, 87 metres at 0.8, 89 metres at 1.1, 75 metres at 1.33% copper. These are all projects that at the moment we're not pursuing because they're not economic, but in the future it will be deposits like these that become economic. And we have multiple of them throughout the portfolio. Just last year we tested in excess of 15 targets. 3 of those targets delivered copper intersections 50 metres at 1% or greater. And the idea behind that is they generate value for us. One of them was South Hope, which we've monetised with Carnaby. One of them was at Hardway, which we've followed up, and another one we're to follow up this year. So I'd like to think we have an exciting story to tell. Our Kelman project, I mentioned 420,000 tonnes of copper equivalent metal there, 71% of that material in an open pit, same strip ratio as the T3 deposit in Botswana, same metal inventory. It's there ready to move forward. And of more recent time, we've been able to do a lot of exploration in and around Kelman, which is setting up our next drill targets there. The interesting development in December last year, molybdenum. I spoke about molybdenum when I was here last year. I tried to give some background information as to the metal. It was added to the critical metals list in Australia in December 2023. This is significant because there aren't too many opportunities for molybdenum production in Australia. In fact, I've mentioned before, Kelman's the third highest grade undeveloped molybdenum project in the world. It's not bad when you consider there's nearly there's over 0.5% copper associated with it, and some 340,000 ounces of gold within the project as well. So as we think about projects and critical metals moving forward and funding opportunities and government funding, this is certainly an opportunity we'd like to progress in the near term. I'm running out of time, but some of the exploration opportunities we've had around Kelman have been sitting right under our nose for some time, and whilst we've focused on the Kelman resource and drilling that out, there are some near-field anomalies which look just as good. If I pointed out to, I don't know the pointer's going to work, but if you have a look at the southeast of the project area there's a really nice looking copper anomaly associated with that on the right-hand side of the diagram there. You can see the molybdenum anomaly. And these anomalies are just as significant as the original Kelman deposit. There's no drilling at these targets, and this is the focus of some recent work around here, is defining these targets with further soil sampling. And we'll be drilling these later in September, early October. Not only Kelman, we've focused on a prospect at tourist zone. We drilled here last year as well. Last year, in late 2023, we had intercepts of 30 metres at 0.8% copper, following up previous exploration, which was showing similar style results, 26 to 30 metres at 1% copper. The soil anomaly that you can see sitting there, just below the breccia shaft, that soil sampling had stopped. All of the stuff to the south of there we've gone through and soil sampled in the last couple of months, and we've seen an anomaly that sits to the south there, just below that big Chance old workings that sit there. That's an old limestone deposit that was mined for flux. You can see the copper anomalism through there, looking an order of magnitude more significant than those tourist zone results. So this will be one of our next targets that we test. In fact, the gold anomalism through those soils is probably the best gold anomaly we've seen in the 3,000 square kilometres we have. So I'm pretty excited about that prospect, pretty excited about that drilling coming up. I'm in Queensland, so I won't bore you too much with our Yandal gold project, but this is another area that the company's pretty pleased to have in the portfolio. It's sitting within a historical region that's produced in excess of 24 million ounces of gold. More recently, we've announced a small resource at the North Aurelia project. That North Aurelia project, some 50,000 ounces of gold, sitting just 10 kilometres north of Northern Star's operation at Aurelia there. So that is an opportunity in itself to increase that resource and also look potentially to monetise those assets in the future with the nearby mining infrastructure. We've recently completed some air core drilling at these projects, and I expect those results to be out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're looking for some gold exposure to go with your copper, we like to think we've got 2 great projects in 2 world-class provinces with good exploration potential. And that's a picture there of that gold resource. It is all shallow drilling. It does stretch for some 2 kilometres. Great looking anomaly. I still think there's more to be had with this particular deposit. I think there's the potential for extensions, and I think there's some great exploration targets there. So watch this space as we progress with that project moving forward. We're an exploration company at heart. We love drilling holes. We love drilling holes with other people's money, not shareholders, but with our JV partners. We're looking to make discoveries. We're looking to create value. Previous directors, management hold in excess of 13% of the company. We contribute to our raisings. We are active participants in our capital activities, and we're keen to take the next step with our projects. Each of those prospects there would sit nicely in an ASX junior by themselves. We have multiple of them within the portfolio, and I think we have a great opportunity through those joint ventures and our own 100% work to make a significant discovery to create that wealth. It goes without saying we're busy, we're active. Both Russell and myself are here. We'd love to chat with as many of you as we can. Failing that, my contact details are on every presentation. I welcome any interaction I can get with shareholders or prospective shareholders. Please don't hesitate in reaching out. Thanks very much for your time.